你愿意陪高学历的男生吃苦吗？
不愿意。
为什么？
因为真正爱你的男人不会让你吃苦。
不愿意啊，因为男人不值得，我爸妈都没让我吃过苦。
不愿意，我的人生是用来享福的，凭什么陪他吃苦呀？
当然不愿意啊，爱又不能当饭吃。
当然不愿意啊，我又不是18岁的小女孩了。
你们说30多岁的女生到底比20多岁的女生差在哪？
You all tell me, in what way are women in their 30s really worse than those in their 20s? I honestly don't understand why a 38-year-old woman asking for a bride price of 800,000 yuan would attract so much criticism. This lady actually has excellent personal qualities, a great figure, a cold and elegant aura, a master's degree, owns a car and a house, and earns more than 100,000 yuan a year. And her expectations for a blind date partner aren't even high, she just hopes the man has a similar level of education, an annual income of 200,000 yuan, and is willing to give an 800,000 yuan bride price. I really think these requirements are quite reasonable. Yet she still got mocked by so many people. Some netizens mocked her, saying she overestimates herself, that at her age, her water, electricity, and main switch have all been shut off. Others bluntly said that for 800,000 yuan, they'd rather marry a girl in her 20s, much more cost-effective. There were also those who encouraged her, saying she should never give up, and must stick to her standards without lowering them. Some netizens even shared that they know someone, a friend who's 40 years old, who really met a wealthy and successful man. He gave her a bride price of 1 million yuan, bought her a house and a car, and spoiled her like a princess. So I totally understand this lady. What's wrong with being an older woman? They're more mature and more capable than younger girls, so why should they be looked down on? I truly support all of you and hope you keep being yourselves. You'll eventually meet someone who's worth it. Keep going.
我去医院做了一个生育力检测，我的雌激素水平已经达到绝经的状态了，也就是说，我几乎不可能怀上孩子。我突然觉得，我没有孩子，也不可能有人跟我结婚，公司也倒闭了。如果我没有收入，我该怎么活下去呢？活下去又有什么意义呢？
长沙39岁大龄剩女被检查出来绝经了。
A 39-year-old high-quality leftover woman in Changsha recently went to the hospital for a checkup and was diagnosed as having already reached menopause. Upon hearing the news, she had an emotional breakdown on the spot and was filled with deep regret. She was born in 1986 and is a local only child. She is 1.7 meters tall, has a good appearance and temperament, and runs a physical retail store by herself, with an annual income of over 200,000 yuan. In the eyes of outsiders, she seemed to be someone who still had options. But unexpectedly, just this month, she went for a medical examination and was told by the doctor that her estrogen levels had dropped to menopausal levels, and she could no longer conceive naturally. The doctor also clearly told her that having children was basically impossible. Hearing this, she couldn't stop her tears and cried heartbreakingly. She had always believed that her good conditions still gave her the capital to be selective in choosing a partner. But now she realizes that she has lost the most fundamental fertility ability and basically has no place left in the marriage and dating market. What do you think about such an ending?
我发现有很多过了35岁以上的大龄剩女啊，现在看多了电视剧。
I've noticed that many leftover women over the age of 35, after watching too many romantic TV dramas, have started fantasizing about finding a younger little brother to date and marry. As someone who has worked as a matchmaker for many years, I sincerely want to tell the truth. Most of these younger men will never actually marry an older woman. They might date an older woman a few times out of curiosity or for the novelty, but when it comes to marriage, young men will come up with all kinds of excuses to back out. Why? Because deep down, in the hearts of most Chinese men, what they truly long for is a sweet girl at least 4 years younger than themselves, not an older sister type who is 5 or 6 years older. I know what I'm saying might sound harsh, and many leftover women will probably respond, don't female celebrities also marry younger men? But think about it, those women have looks, resources, and financial power. Of course they're not worried about finding someone to marry. Now let's look at reality. Among ordinary women over the age of 35 who are still single, how many of them still have outstanding looks? And how many are actually willing to spend money on a man? In fact, many older women already have a bottom line in their hearts. If the man is young, handsome, and capable, they might be okay with splitting the costs, or even not spending the man's money at all. But to actually spend their own money on a man? Absolutely not. Of course, I'm not saying that women should go out of their way to support men financially. I'm just here to give a friendly reminder to older women. In real life, once a few high-quality post-95 men show up, before you even get a chance to make a move, they've already been targeted by young, pretty girls. So, what are the actual chances that older sisters can successfully win over these younger men?
现在宁波的男生实在是太清醒了啊。
Ningbo men these days are really becoming more and more clear-headed. And women born in the 1980s and 1990s feel like the sky is falling. These guys, when facing women over 30, are no longer easily swayed by looks or a few sweet words. Just a few days ago, a 34-year-old man came to our matchmaking agency for a blind date and met a 30-year-old woman. As soon as they met, the man very directly asked her, "Do you have a house?" The woman replied, "No." Then he asked, "Do you have a car?" The woman shook her head again. So the man continued to ask, "How much savings do you have then?" The woman frankly said, "I usually live paycheck to paycheck, no savings." Upon hearing this, the man immediately responded, "Oh, then maybe we're not a good match." After this incident, the woman came to me quite upset, complaining that the man actually asked her right off the bat if she had a house, a car, and any savings. She felt that she was the one looking to be married, not the one marrying a man. Later, we called the man to ask for his perspective, and he spoke bluntly. A 30-year-old woman, no house and no car is one thing, but not even having any savings. This shows she has a strong consumption mindset and no financial awareness at all. Someone like that is not suitable for building a life together. I'm not looking to raise a wife like she's some kind of ancestor, spending my money every day. She's not young anymore, her career isn't going anywhere, her earning ability is mediocre, but she sure knows how to spend. Why would I want a partner like that? I'd rather go find a girl in her early 20s than be with an older woman who's unreliable. After hearing what he said, I couldn't argue with him either, so I just agreed to help them both get rematched.
大龄剩女也是个白菜价，大多数也不能要。
Now, quite a few older leftover women can really only be considered cabbage-priced now, and men really shouldn't go for them. They may be older in age, yet still delusionally think they can sell themselves at durian prices. It's truly laughable and ridiculous. To put it bluntly, most of them have already lost the basic value for marriage. It's either a psychological issue, or their bodies have long started flashing red warning lights. For someone to end up in such a situation, how could it not be the result of numerous emotional wrecks and a pile of hidden history? Just because they haven't obtained a marriage certificate doesn't mean they haven't had abortions, and it certainly doesn't mean they haven't lived with countless men. To put it plainly, the parts on their bodies are already aged, some functions have even completely shut down and run dry. And yet they still feel good about themselves, foolishly dreaming of meeting a simple man, a naive guy, or even a willing scapegoat to clean up their mess and save the day. What's funniest is that these women keep claiming they're independent and outstanding, but at the same time they demand bride prices of several 100,000 yuan, and insist on having both a car and a house without compromise. But if you really understand their situation, you'll realize, many older leftover women have absolutely no fertility ability after marriage, and their private lives are extremely chaotic, completely lacking loyalty to marriage and family. To us men, women like this are nothing short of a disaster on earth. Brothers, you must stay sharp and alert. Don't be fooled by appearances. Guard your wallets tightly. It's better to observe more, verify more than to blindly pour your heart and money into someone. Remember, always inspect the goods first and make sure the child is really yours before spending a single yuan.
有句话叫什么来着？好像是女人30豆腐渣。
From a very young age, I often heard adults say, women at 30 are like crumbled tofu, while men at 31 are like blooming flowers. This saying is truly widespread in China and has deeply embedded itself in the subconscious minds of many women. We girls have been particularly sensitive to age since childhood, even to the point of fear. Because in reality, once a woman passes 30, the door to the marriage and dating market almost completely shuts on her. Society also throws out all kinds of harsh remarks, like you're already old, and you're still going on blind dates, or outdated women should just accept their fate, and other such sarcasm and ridicule. I personally had an extremely unpleasant experience. A male online acquaintance actually posted about me on the internet, analyzing me, implying that at my age, already 36, I still dared to have standards when choosing a partner. His exact words were something like, having one man even interested in me should already be the greatest blessing of my life. The post he made received several thousand views, and the comments were numerous, almost entirely filled with insults and attacks against me. What's even more outrageous is that there was a dedicated men's group, with several hundred members inside, all focusing on mocking and laughing at me. I don't even know that male online acquaintance at all. We have no personal conflict whatsoever, yet he took the lead in launching this attack. Toward women like me, older single women, the internet is full of hostility. And in the comment section, I saw some men openly saying that marrying an old woman like me wouldn't be as good as going back to their hometown and finding an 18-year-old rural girl. I truly cannot understand this kind of value system. Just how ignorant can men be? They completely ignore whether a woman has received higher education, whether she's financially capable, whether she has cognitive depth. They only look at age. As long as you're older, everything else doesn't count. You're automatically deemed obsolete. Although I know that in real life, these people would never actually have any interaction with me, the moment you fall outside their reachable range, they will use all their malice to attack you. Maybe it's because they're frustrated deep down, knowing they can't have me, and use ridicule to mask their bitterness. I don't even want to bother with people like that anymore.
Now, many older leftover women in China are truly starting to feel anxious because they are gradually realizing the speed at which they make compromises is far slower than the speed at which they are depreciating in the dating and marriage market. Just like a woman born in 1987 in Shenzhen who has been persisting at blind date corners for over a year and recently shared her story online. She said she has already met nearly 30 men, and even though she keeps lowering her standards for choosing a partner, she still gets rejected again and again. She recalled that in the first few years after graduation, she was fully focused on her career, and all the men who pursued her back then were rejected by her. After 5 years of hard work, she was promoted to a senior executive position in her company. By the age of 29, people around her began urging her to get married, and she also felt that she had good qualities and should be able to find an outstanding partner. But she just kept failing to meet the right guy. Her criteria for a partner were at least owning a house and a car, having an official family record in Shenzhen, and earning an annual salary of over 500,000 yuan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be worthy of her. Even if the man's conditions were met, she would still test his sincerity. But just like that, things dragged on into her 30s, and she suddenly realized that no men were actively pursuing her anymore, nor were relatives or friends introducing her to anyone. The occasional introductions were mostly divorced men, which immediately made her feel surrounded by crisis, so she began taking the initiative to attend blind dates. Unfortunately, even though she kept lowering her standards, the men would still reject her because of her age and perceived poor fertility. In the end, she could only turn to men who were divorced or had brief marriages without children, only to realize that many opportunities were already gone for good. After hearing this woman's experience, what are your thoughts? You're welcome to leave your comments. I'd really like to hear your opinions. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next video.